fabulous brother educators.
And Happy New Year, everybody.
Good morning, everyone.
Where were you on the night of July 31st, 19? No.
Well, I can't guarantee there'll be all of us together, right? But maybe. Good morning, everyone, or afternoon. Welcome. I'm Angela Wolf, and we are at your side virtually with a super fun show today. But I have to say, when I watched that opening video, I was just talking to the girls saying we should do another anniversary party because we're almost up to the 1 year mark of when we started these daily live shows on Brother. Can you believe that? Boy, a year goes by fast, doesn't it? So welcome, everyone. If you've never been here, I'm a brand ambassador for Brother. I've got fabulous Brother educators joining us today, and we are live on the Brother Sewing Facebook and YouTube page. So say where you're from if you're new, because we always love that too. So by the way, all of you that watched yesterday, were you here with the Rachel twin set sew along? Okay, I've got a funny one for you. So I have an in-house, a couple classes coming up in April, at the end of April, that students coming here to my studio, and I was trying to find my flexible rulers because we're doing a pants class. So I think that's all you need to know about the flexible ruler. I've looked everywhere, and I'm just getting ready to order more, and I watched the video from yesterday. So here you go. This was the set for yesterday. It's a little bit more of a hot mess than it was yesterday because I've been cutting fabric. And do you see anything weird there? No, except for a hot mess. Well, look closer. There's all my flexible rulers right there on my dress form. What in the heck? Don't you think I would put stuff away? That's what my little nephew would say. What the heck is that? All right, guys, welcome. I've got Barb and Kathy with us. I'm going to bring them up. I can hardly wait. Good morning, Barb. Good morning, Kathy. How are you?
Good morning.
Doing great. How are you?
It is so nice to see you girls today.
Good seeing you.
I know you have something fabulous for us today. The Brother family is rolling in to say hi to you. So, Kathy, I mentioned that you are coming on the show today, and I mentioned this to Win, and he said, "Is that the recipe lady?" That's the recipe lady. Oh, God.
Lady.
So
but
we missed you.
My sewing machine, not in the kitchen.
I'm with you on that. So what do you have planned for us today, girls?
I'll start out. We're going to explore the circular sewing attachment, and this is what I made with the circular sewing attachment. I can get a little closer and you can see all those lovely decorative stitches. And I'm going to show you or explain how you can make this flower. And it can be anything from a table topper. This is the start of a table topper.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
To that pillow.
Okay, that's going to be a lot of fun. I love that pillow. It's beautiful. And a table topper would be a double whammy because I'm big into the table toppers. I can't wait. All right. And Barb, what are you going to be showing us?
Table, so.
Because everyone likes a quick view. Barb, what are you going to be teaching us today?
So then I'm going to be showing circular sewing on the luminaire, but in the design center, using decorative stitches also. So a whole different way to approach it.
So we're going to have circles all over the map today. This is awesome. All right, Kathy, would you like to kick it off, Kathy?
I would.
All right. Everybody's in, and they said your pillows are beautiful. So you're already getting the kudos.
Well, thank you. So here is the pieces that come with your circular sewing attachment. You get this piece that attaches to the bed. And one thing that I wanted to mention, Angela, to everyone is I'm working on my Anovis NS80, which is a small, lightweight portable machine that has lots of fun features on it. So it works with just about any Brother machine. So you get this little cording foot, you get the braiding foot, you get this piece that attaches to the bed of your machine, and you also get a handy dandy instruction guide as well. And it's just called the circular sewing attachment. For those that are math geeks, it does come with a quarter ruler. So if you wanted to figure out mathematically how many stitches you needed to complete your circle, that's great. I'm not a math girl, so I just wing it. So these are some of the things that I've stitched.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Even the little decorative, see the little cars?
Oh
And
my
the
gosh,
little
are those
bees?
cars? I'm looking closer. I'm going to, hold on, let me bring you over here. Are those little cars, did you say?
This is the little cars.
Oh my gosh, how cute is that?
Then there's little bees.
Oh, we love the bees.
Then there's bicycles. And these are just some of the decorative stitches that are on my little NS80 machine. But I wanted to show you, or start out with, using this cording foot. So what I have are 3 pieces of embroidery floss, all 6 strands. And you want to slip them under this little guide here on the front. And then they're going to go underneath the foot and to the back. So I'll try and do the last one on camera here. It just slips under that. I tie a knot in them just because it's easier for me to hang on to. So in order to attach your circular sewing attachment to the bed of your machine, it attaches with just 1 screw right over here to the right-hand side. Then you have this little slide. This is your pin right here that holds your fabric. I'm going to stick my pin in the center of my circle. And if I want to move this, I just lift this little lever up right here and I can slide it to different size circles. So I'm going to put my pin, oops, it came out of the little hole. Put that in the center. And I think if I stitch right there, I'm going to be stitching on top of another thing. So I'm just going to attach my presser foot. And the
Kathy,
only
I love how you can move that to the left and to the right to move that. I
yeah,
think
you don't
that's
even
one of
have
the
to
coolest
unpin
parts.
your fabric.
Instead of having to move everything around, that's such a cool attachment. And yes, somebody wants to know, does this work on a lot of the Brother machines? Absolutely. Yes, yes.
Just about any Brother sewing machine. You would have to definitely go online and to Brother's website and look to make sure that your machine is there. But the stitch that I'm using to attach these pieces of floss is a stretch zigzag. It's that multi-step zigzag that kind of looks like little dots. And on this machine, it's stitch number 10. And you just want to adjust your width to make sure that you're going to cover all of your stitches. If I don't want my stitches to show, I would use an invisible thread. But I do want it to show for this. And then I just press on the gas. You know. The nice thing about this little machine is I can unplug my foot control over here on the side, maybe. Try and hold that in my lap so it doesn't fall on the floor. And then just use my start-stop button.
I love that feature. For those that don't know, the start and stop button, it's a button and it just starts rolling. That's all you got to do. You don't have to use the foot pedal.
And just try and keep your cords so that they're not tangled. I like to kind of sew at a medium speed when I'm using this. So this way I can keep my hand down and keep the fabric flat, but also keep these cords untangled. But for show purposes, I'm going to speed up just a little bit. We're going to finish this circle.
So Kathy, while you're doing that, do you have any recommendations on what type of yarn? Is there a certain thickness that you have to have, or does it matter?
This is just embroidery floss.
Oh.
Any kind of heavier or decorative threads that you might have, you could use.
Think about a variegated thread or really thin ribbon, like silk ribbon. That works too.
That would be really pretty.
So I'm just getting back to where I started. And then I usually just use a tie-off stitch. Let's cut that so we can pull it behind. And then you can see that pretty, maybe.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Isn't that pretty?
Oh, yeah.
So for those that have embroidery machines as well, think about making a frame for a monogram using this.
Great idea.
That would be pretty as well. So now that we know how to use the cording foot, we're going to use the braiding foot.
Ooh.
And this one I have 1/4 inch ribbon. See if I can get this on camera at the right angle. So it goes into the hole and under the foot and out the back. You can adjust this little screw for the width of your ribbon. And we're going to put that on. I'm going to lift the little lever over here on the side and make my circle a little bit tighter. Or maybe I want to go in between these 2 rows of stitching. One of the things that I do recommend when you're using the braiding foot with ribbon or any type of, you can use rat tail cord, any types of yarn, make sure that you have a long enough piece that it's going to go fully around your circle. And ask me why I'm recommending that.
I was just thinking, that's a good tip to think of at the beginning.
So, and I can sew this with any stitch that I want as well. I could do a zigzag, or I could do a straight stitch, or even a decorative stitch. So let's try a feather stitch.
Oh, that's going to look good.
On this one, I'm going to put my needle down, and I'm also going to do a tie off. Let me get rid of this little thread tail that's still connected here. The foot controller works much better if you plug it in.
I was thinking, I do that so many times, and it's only when we're live I'll forget to do that.
And also when you're pressing on the foot control and not one of the cables for your computer. But I just try and keep a little bit of tension on this ribbon. I'm not really pulling it tight, but I'm not just letting it go willy-nilly, because it will roll over on itself. And I'm not going to go, well, maybe I will. I don't know. We'll see if I have time to go all the way around. I think we should.
It's fun to watch.
Just so much fun to play with your decorative stitches this way.
And you can use all kinds of yarn and thread and metallic threads for your stitches over your, pretty decorative pieces that you're feeding through, or just plain decorative stitches. It's just so much fun, and you get so many different looks, creations galore.
Well, and like with the Luminaire, we have hundreds of built-in decorative stitches. So, I mean, you've got a lot to choose from.
Right.
Just play with them.
Right.
Susie, welcome to the party. She's usually working and can't watch, and she said she has this attachment and hasn't used it in a long time. So have fun with it. I actually have it too. I haven't used it. I don't think I've used it in a couple of years. But when you start, it's like anything else. Like all of a sudden you start using it, and then everything's gonna have circles on it for the next 2 weeks.
Correct.
And then it goes back in the box for the next year.
So a really good thing to mention is that you want to stabilize your fabric you're doing this on. If you don't, it can tend to bunch and, shift on you. So make sure it's nice and stabilized.
And I do have a fusible tearaway on the back of this that I had pre-prepped.
That was a really good tip there, because if you don't, and especially if your fabric's even a lightweight cotton, it might have a whole different look.
Yes.
So when I get back to the start, I just stitch a few stitches over where I started. And again, I'll just do that tie off. I'll clip my ribbon, lift my foot, lift my needle. And there we have the pretty decorative stitches on top of the ribbon.
That looks great with the feather stitch. I love that.
Isn't that cute? And this is more of a tone on tone, but it just adds a lot of texture to it as well. Almost looks like snakeskin from my view.
When it looks like a braid.
It does
look like a braid.
And you know what else is, because of that attachment, makes it so easy. If you guys look closely, look at how perfect each one of those layers. I mean, try doing that on your own.
No. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Beautiful. What a great tool. So you can find this circular attachment, by the way. Just call your brother dealer. And as we mentioned, it will work on most brother machines. I'm not going to say all, because there might be one out there it won't, but just check. Very cool.
So let's switch to the N foot. Well, no, that's the J foot. I really wanted my N foot. There it is. And it's the one that has the groove in the bottom.
Bring it down just a little bit. There you go. Yeah,
There you go.
perfect.
So that you can do some other decorative stitches. And again, I'm just going to go in a little bit. One thing I will tell you that I found out whenever I was sewing the decorative stitches for the flower circles, that only the bottom 2 inches showed in the reveal. So I had circles that were stitched as far or as close as I could get them to the inside of the circle here, and none of it shows.
Okay.
So just be mindful of that if you're doing something. But I really like to use the Scallop satin stitch, which is the one that I've got right here. And on my machine, it's stitch number 68. And I started out just stitching with it set at the machine defaults. And I wasn't real crazy about it because it wasn't as close together as I really wanted. So I just changed my stitch settings and just made my stitches closer together. And I got more of a scallop satin border. But I could see doing this on linen.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you could make round linen placemats and just use some type of seam sealant along the edge of the scallop after you're done. And then you can trim close to it with scissors, and you've got beautiful round placemats. So I'm going to have to go shopping for linen. That will be on Saturday.
I love that. Well, actually, I was, I don't remember what Wynn and I were talking about, but up north, I wanted to put new placemats on our table because it was a new wood finish. This would be a great idea. My mom found some of those, she bought them, and I was going to embroider on them, but this would be way more fun. Sorry, Mom, I think I found an adapter. This is going to be cool.
Well, I'm going on Saturday to help my mom clean out her craft closet, so I'm on the hunt for linen in her craft closet. So
that's when
anyway,
you say, Mom, you don't need that fabric. Let me take that off your hands for you.
I've been doing a lot of that. Too much of it, to be matter of fact. But anyway, so there's sewing with the circular sewing attachment. And like I said, I'm using the NS80, which is an entry-level machine. It's lightweight and compact, weighs 14 pounds, has 80 different stitches. It has, I think it's 8 different one-step buttonholes. And I think you've used this when you would go sewing on your boat, Angela.
You got that right, Kathy. I do. I carry that thing right onto the boat because it's super easy to lift. I have it back there right now because we're not fishing. But as soon as fishing season comes in, I just started leaving it on the boat because I'm always fixing something every weekend, and it's so much faster.
So the one thing that I've really enjoyed about this, my local quilt shop has what they call sit and sews sometimes in the evenings. And if I have something that I'm just piecing, something that I don't need to embroider, I just take this little machine with me and off I go.
That's nice. So, well, that's a lot lighter than the other machine you have next to you.
It is. So I'm done with this part. I'll let Barb switch over and she's going to show you. I had put a gusset in that pillow and I used the gathering foot, but Barb's going to show you the ruffler. And then another show down the road, we're going to show you some more fabulous feet.
That's awesome. I got a quick question for you while you're there. Cindy wants to know, hey, Kathy, is the tie-off stitch that you referred to, is that just the stay stitch, basically?
Yes.
Yeah. So
it's
on
the
your
button,
machine,
it's just a circle.
Yep. If you guys know what that looks like, it's on your machine. It's just a dot, and you hit that and just puts the needle up and down, straight up and down, no back stitch.
And it has many different names.
Perfect.
I need to change my camera view, so take me out for a second, Angela.
Sure.
We'll leave this pretty circle up.
We'll leave the pretty circle up. I'm I'm reading all the comments, and everybody loves the idea that a win-win for mom and daughter. I agree in all avenues on that. I'm just making sure there weren't any other questions about that before I move on.
Well, Angela, one of the other things that I wanted to point out, this is a machine that they can call their local dealer and it can be ordered and paid for and shipped online.
Oh, that's even better.
So they don't have to even go into the dealer store in order to purchase this machine. So if you still cannot get out to your dealer, just give them a call and tell them that you're interested in the NS80.
Yep. And it's NS80 in case you guys missed that. NS80. N as in Nancy, S as in Sam. 80.
Correct.
All right. So Barb is up. I'm going to bring this up there you go, Barb, but we can see your screen perfectly.
Okay. So I'm going to show you circular sewing on the Luminaire, and I'm going to use Decorative Stitches in the Design Center. So we're going to go in the Design Center, and I'm going to build a design here. Let me bring this up just a little bit. That's better. Okay. So I want to do a circle. That's what we're talking about, is circles. So I'm going to go into my shapes or stamps right here, and I'm going to choose a circle. Okay. And say, okay. Now, this is what I want you to notice right up here. It will always default to a satin stitch for any line. This up here is all the menu you need to control your lines, what stitches you want to put on your lines. So I can see default to satin stitch. I don't want a satin stitch, but I'm going to show you how to change that. Now, I want to size this circle. I have no idea what size it is. Nothing here tells me that. But if I press size, then I can see what size it is. This is a 6.42 by 6.42, and I want to make it a 10-inch circle. So I'm just going to touch and hold the 4 arrows that go out, and I touched and held too long. It goes really fast. All right, so I have a 10-inch circle. I'm happy with that. So I just say, okay. But now I want to add more circles to this, kind of like Kathy did. Only I'm going to let the machine do it. So I could bring in another circle and size it, but how about if I just duplicate it? So here's my duplicate right under rotate, and now I have a second circle there. Can you see on the screen that it is not exactly on top of the first circle? It's offset. Can you see that, Angela?
Yeah, we sure can.
Okay, that's to let you know that, whoop, you brought something else up here. Don't forget it's here. Way back when, and we used to duplicate, it duplicated exactly on it. And many of us would sew a design and all of a sudden it would start sewing again because we forgot we put another piece in there. Now we can see it. So I want to size this one to 9 inches. So I'm going to do the 4 arrows facing in to 9 inches. And I have to remember that it's not centered. It's offset. So to center it right here, boom, now it's exactly 1 inch all the way around inside the 9 inches, which is what I want. Okay, I'm going to do another one. I want to do an 8-inch size. Same thing. I went into duplicate. Ooh, that was good. Center. And yeah, that doesn't happen very often. Duplicate. Size. Down to 7 inches. So I'm going to kind of do a kaleidoscope of all different stitches and center. And okay. Now, the reason I know I can center that is because there's a red box around the latest center brought in circle. So I know every time when I'm pressing this, it's the latest circle. All right, let's go again. Duplicate, size. And it starts at the last size I did because it duplicated the last size. So now I'm down to a 7-inch. I go to 6. Center. Okay. Duplicate. This one's going to start at 6 and go to 5. So by the time I finish this, you've got this mastered, right, everybody? Center. Okay. So don't forget your duplicate and your size brings up the number you want to see, how big your piece is, whatever it is, if it's a circle or if it's a design, anything you've brought in there. That's how you find out how big it is, by going to size. Okay, going to 3. Oops, I think I messed up. 3. Center. Yeah, I did. I did not center the last one. So I'm going to show you what I have to do that. Because there's no place on here to select and go back to a different one. So I'm going to have to do it a different way. So 2 and then 1 and we're done. 2 inches center. Okay. Duplicate size 1 inch. So we've gone from 1 inch to 10 inches. And as you can see, you can do any size you can imagine. All right. Oh, I don't think I can go back and fix that one. That's okay. I can undo 50 times. So I could undo to there. I'm not going to do that now because of our time. But don't forget to center it as you're there.
We want to watch you undo 50 times. No, I'm just kidding.
I can. But what I always tell everybody is if you have to undo 50 times, just start over. So they're all satin stitches. I don't want that. So I'm going to go to satin, to the line stitches. And these are my stitch choices. You have 8 of them on this page, and then there's more. So I'm going to choose, I want to do the candle wicking stitch that Kathy did on her project, and I'm going to make it blue. Now to do that, I have to open up the fill bucket, the fill, it won't fill unless I do that. And then I touch the line and the line will turn to blue. And I know it's there because it says it's blue and it's candle wicking stitches. Now I'm going to go back in there and choose the next one. I'll do this chain stitch with the bright yellow. And the bucket is still on because I just used it. If I let it sit too long, it won't be on. And then I touch that one. Now, if I touch the wrong one, just undo it. It'll come back Like I said, you can back up 50 times if you need to. So let's go to the next one. And I'm going to choose these flowers and a light lilac and touch the third one. Back in again. This time I want to choose some leaves to go around the flowers, and I don't see that. So if I touch select, I get 10 more choices of stitches I can choose from. Leaves, green, and okay, and touch my circle for the leaves next to the flowers. Now I'm going to go into the next one, and I'm now in these stitches. I'm going to do the feather that Kathy just did and say okay, but I want it to be, my feather is a light blue, and I'm coming still filled. I always check to see that that's full. And these are easy to touch and see, but if you can't, you can always make this bigger. You can make this 1600% bigger, and then you can pan this way to see what you've got. You see now there's my colors that I've already done. So that's really simple to get into, see everything closely. All right, let's try the next one. I want to do the Greek key in an orange, and that's this one. Then I'm going to do this one in a, what color did I do? I want to show this the way it actually stitched out. Light lilac, and that is that one. Oh, look, I touched two at they both changed because they cross right here. They touch. So I can't make them separate because I didn't center it. So I can't, those are going to be one color. Unless I break the line, then I can change the color. So I could do that, but I'm not going to. All right, I'm going to show you how I'm going to flip that, which will be interesting since it's double circled. I want to do some hearts in red, and that's to be on this one. And two more to go. Here we are doing this plaid looking thing. I love this stitch in a darker green. And the last one is just that stitch in a bright pink. And now we have it. So you cannot see those stitches on this screen.
I was just going to mention that, Barb, because I know somebody's like, wait a minute, when you went close up, all I see are colors. I don't see the stitches. So that's really important.
Now, when I go to next, down here, next, we're going to see those stitches. But this means it's digitizing. It's literally digitizing. So one thing with the circular attachment is when you go around the circle and you go to touch the last stitch, sometimes it's not a complete full stitch. However, this digitizes it to be completely perfect every time. Now, can you see the stitches?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But you have to go to next. And you see my big screw up right there in the middle with the purple?
Oh, yeah. We can't miss that one.
Okay. So now, on this page, you can make your stitches bigger. You see the arrows going up and sideways. So the whole thing would go bigger. Or you can space them out. Those are your options here. Here's what you need to see. Whatever stitch is up here is the stitch that it's going to do when you do these things. If you want to pick a different stitch, you must arrow and look how it changes. Changes the color and changes the stitch. So you can get to the exact stitch you want to change. And I want to change this one. And here's what I want to do with it. This third option down here is to have the stitch go below the line or above the line. We call it flip. All of these others are centered on the line, except the hearts and this little stitch. So I'm going to flip it like that. Once I say okay, it's going to digitize it. So this will look interesting to see. Actually, you could do the whole series like this and not center them, and it would look like a spirograph.
That would be cool.
Yeah. So we've discovered something new. So see, now these are flipping and they're stitching out. Before they were stitching in and they were too close to the hearts. So you can do those three things to it. Now, I'm going to go gently and I'm going to show you the stitch out. So here is the stitch out.
Oh, it looks great.
Yeah, of what we did. But then I took it and I did some other things. I cut it in quarters and laid it out. You can have all kinds of different configurations. So you can have all these modern looks. And then I did a traditional look, cutting it in quarters that we're used to seeing on quilt patterns.
Oh my gosh.
So you can do all kinds of different things, and Kathy's going to be showing you more. And then I did here in the sashing, those are decorative stitches. I didn't do the sashing. I just took decorative stitches and I sized it according to what I wanted. And that's how I'm starting the sashing on this.
So I think for myself, I don't know about everyone else watching this and about you, Kathy, but as a garment sewer, I'm always looking at ways of decorating my fabric. And I love the circles, but every time I've done it, it has been on a pillow. I love the idea of doing it for table. But when you cut those apart and moved them around, my mind just went, whoa, I am going to have the coolest pair of jeans coming up you've ever seen.
Can't wait to see them.
Okay, so now I have one more thing I'm going to do with this.
Okay.
When you do this, you want to make sure to save your work in the memory of the machine. Super, super important, because if you want to come back and rework this again, you've already done a lot of the work, change the stitches, change the colors, whatever, you can, as long as you save it in this memory pocket. Whoops, I touched the clock. This is not the same memory pocket as the one in your embroidery side. This is strictly my design center pocket, which means you can rework the design. So I've already done that. I'm not going to save it there for now, but I am going to pull it out of the pocket so you can see. So your pocket for the design center, everything you've saved is right there. The pocket with the arrow out. And this is the design right here, done correctly. Okay, now I want to change this because I'm going to use it in a totally different application. I have a placemat for you that I want you to see, but I don't want these stitches on the placemat. So I'm going to go in here to the stitches. I'm going to choose this stitch, and I did it in a tan, but so you can see better, I'll do a brown so you can see. And I'm changing all of those stitches to this one. So I have to turn on the fill bucket, and I just touch all of those. And I'll also show you another way to do that. So now I want to make sure they're all changed. So this is where I go to make it bigger and magnifier, and I pan through to make sure they're all brown, and they are. Just because it may look like it, and I may have missed one. Ask me how that happens. Then I'm going to say next. And this is where we were before, that I can change the size, and I can change the spacing, and I can flip. But if I use this link right here, I now have 10 red boxes around all 10 of the circles, which means it's going to work with all of them, which is what I want to do. So I'm now going to make this bigger and say, okay, and it's going to digitize it perfectly. And I'm going to space it, say, okay. And then this is the design I want to use. So let me show you what I used it on. This is a placemat. It's a rope bowl, but I didn't do the angle. I made it flat. The whole thing is flat. And then I just took the jute and did all the zigzag attachment with that. Actually, one of them came off, so I need to fix that. But I wanted to do something more with this. So I took that design and I stitched it on the placemat, and I put an initial in the middle.
Oh my gosh, I love it. That looks like a golden chain around that.
Yeah, yeah. So I had to take out the center circle to make it. In fact, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I took out a few circles in the middle just to make it big enough for the initial. I did not use a topper on this because this is a very casual look, and I wanted it to be more casual looking, but I did use a topper on the initial, obviously. This is really thick and heavy. You guys know, you've done the rope bowls, some of you. And so I didn't hoop it. I put it on adhesive tearaway. I just stuck it on the top of the hoop. So that's adhesive tearaway. And I could tear all this away, and maybe I will someday, but not now.
So by the way, Barb, if to stitch on something that thick, is there any special needle you had to use, or and also what thread did you use in the top? Because it's gorgeous.
Okay, I used regular 7511 needles. I always do. Doesn't matter what I'm doing. It's the punch power of these machines, not the needle shaft, that lets you do this heavy duty stuff without any issue whatsoever. And it's just plain brother embroidery thread. That's it.
Wow. Did you use a gold? It almost looks like a gold from here.
It's just a tan. But
Oh,
yeah,
it's
it
a
does look
tan.
gold. It brings out a gold.
Oh my gosh, it sure does. It looks like, I'm like looking close, I'm like, it looks like a chain on there. Oh my gosh, Kathy, isn't that gorgeous?
It is fabulous. I love it. I might have to make some.
Well, you're the one that started the whole rope bowl craze that I remember.
Well, I know.
For us. Okay, I'm going to come back.
So handy.
You what?
I said they come in so handy.
Yep, there you go. There's a rope bowl. Or you can just make it
This
flat.
holds all my feet.
I love that. Barb, that was awesome. The comments are always a little delayed in here. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, that is so cool. Okay, so now I'm going to have so many things right now in my mind about, number one, using the circular attachment that Kathy showed. And by the way, someone asked if the feet that Kathy was using came with that. The 2 feet do. You already have an end foot with your machine, but the other 2 feet, they do come with that attachment. It all comes with that. But so that you can do that on any sewing machine. And then what you're doing, Barb, is like where you sit and have coffee and watch it embroider up. But what a great idea. All of them.
And simple. You know, we love to be creative, and these just let us do whatever we want.
Oh, here's a question for you, Cindy. Cindy, you always have the best questions. Thank you. She says, when saving to my design center, Barb had 2 of the same designs. I'd like to know the numbering. Oh, is the higher number the latest? Usually, if you look on your screen, it's the last one that you attached. It'll be the last one in there that you put in there.
Yep.
I don't know if it does give it an automatic number. I'm assuming it's a larger number, but that I don't know off the top of my head.
I'm looking. No, it does not make any sense.
So it's the last one. I always just go through my screen and it goes in order of whatever you put in last.
Yes, it does. But the numbers don't make sense because they change the letters and the numbers, like weird. So it is the last one you do is the first one that's up on your screen in your memory bank.
Julia wants to know, did you create the mat before you did the embroidery? Oh, did you create the mat or did you buy the mat?
No, this is just done with the rope bowl concept. You know, it's just the clothesline rope type of thing, only I got a navy. And you just make it like the rope bowl. You can see the ends are, this right here is where it's the end. You know, it's a little off.
Come the other way. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
You just use a zigzag on that, correct?
Yes, you just use a zigzag to connect each row. And I used the same zigzag to connect this. And I just went around and zigzagged and looped. And I had a measurement. So I knew how big this was. So they all were similar. So it's easy.
That looks awesome. Julia, go ahead and make yours and be sure to share photos on Instagram and use #BrotherSews so they can see that because I think it's very inspiring. Let's see if there's any. Jenny says that this is awesome. Everybody's loving this. Okay, here's a question from Kimberly. Oh, hey, Kim. That wasn't a question. You were adding to the party. How are you, Kim? I got to put my glasses on. You can stretch the circle to make an oval placemat too, is what she's saying.
I haven't tried that. That sounds great.
That does sound great.
Yeah.
Outstanding. Everybody's saying they can't wait to try this. All right, so we're not finished yet, though.
Nope, we're not.
We're totally not finished. Kathy is next, and I did see somebody earlier ask, by the way, I didn't make any rope bowls, but if you watched the last episode of It's So Easy a few weeks ago, I made my top in that episode, and we're talking like 6 years ago. I dug through my stash and found my top for today, and this is one of my pattern hacks. So yes, that was my treat for the day. And I can still get it on. So that's, after a year of COVID, that's a celebration. But I do love the top. So this was all color block. I think I need one with all circles now.
Definitely. So this was just a fabric placemat that I made. with just the different circles.
Uh-huh.
And I had also kind of the same concept that Barb was showing, use them to decorate fabric and then put them in a quilt block.
Oh, that's cool. And you added the patterns in there. What a great idea.
I did. But now I'm going to switch my camera and show you what I did.
I'll take her out till she pops back in. I'm still reading the comments, Barb. This is so much fun. You know, I always go back a couple days after our shows because a lot of people, you know, are working now or can't, you know, watch the live. And the comments later are always so amazing. I can hardly wait to this weekend to pop into the remake of this show because it's going to be so exciting. Circles galore. Circles galore. All right, we see you, Kathy. Oh, by the way, someone asked about the machine. So the first machine she was using was NS80, and I'll pop it into the screen here in just a second. Now she's using the Brother Luminaire, I'm assuming.
Correct.
Yeah.
So what I did was I took my circles that were already stitched with the circular sewing attachment. I hooped them on my machine, and then I wanted to do some additional rows of stitching from my design center like Barb showed you, but I need to see on my screen up here where I've already stitched. So if you go into your scan option, you have image scan, line design, or illustration design. I'm just doing an image scan because I want it to come up as a backdrop so I know where to add my other circles. So it's going to scan my frame. And then what I've already stitched is going to show up on my machine screen right here. This is going to take it a second. It makes 3 passes. And after I finish this, I will explain to you how you get that correct angle to make that flower pillow and where you need to sew these circles together. So on my machine, it's pretty faint, but I can darken that so that I can see it a little bit better. These are the circles that I sewed with the circle sewing attachment. And I'm going to just do as Barb did. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to grab the circle. I'm going to size it just a little bit, just to make sure that it fits in between 2 rows of stitching. And again, she told you that it always defaults to the satin stitch. I'm going to go in here and we'll pick maybe a pink feather stitch. Touch my flood fill bucket, touch that line so that it turns pink. And if I touch next, I'll increase the size a little bit so you can see it and pan. So do you see my pink? Pink's not a good color. Let's try changing the color to red and see if that shows up any better. So do you see my red feather stitch now that I've added there? And I could just keep adding until I get to the number of stitches that I want. But I told you that when I'm making my flower pillow, only 2 inches show of the circle. So you would just keep adding circles and adding more decorative stitches from my design center as you wanted to. But if I wanted to sew that now, I would just touch set and I would go all the way to embroidery and I would stitch it. And then I would have that additional line type on my circle. So are there any questions about adding from my design center onto your circle that's already been stitched with the circular sewing attachment.
I'm looking right now, reviewing the questions. I did put the machines up down below, by the way, just so it's the NS80 and Luminaire. Michelle wants to know, what size hoop did you use for the 10-inch circle?
I've got my 10.5 by 10.5 hoop.
That's what I used.
Okay, perfect.
So.
And I don't see, everybody's just saying beautiful, beautiful. Oh, Connie, I will at the end. You see my
messy corner.
Oh, hey, we like messy corners.
So this kind of works with any, I'm going to show you how you're going to sew and fold, or fold and sew. So any size circle. I have 2 different sizes here. You're going to take it and you're going to fold it in half. Let's turn it this way. And make a crease. You're going to fold it in half the opposite way. And I like to just line up my previous crease right here and then fold and make a crease. So you folded it in quarters basically. And now you're going to take it and you're going to fold it again. Open it up. And now that I've got all my creases, I'm going to start with my top crease. I'm going to come up 1 on the right side and come up 1 on the left side. And then I'll usually just cut out that triangle so that this is what I use to mark stitching lines on the individual petals. But it works the same with this larger circle as well. So again, just fold it in half.
Kathy said you didn't like math. Well, there we go. I think you do more than you think.
I can fold paper. You would not imagine, could not imagine the number of paper circles that I had glued and taped together trying to figure this out. Maybe if I had been a little bit better in math, I wouldn't have had such a hard time. But that's how I got my template. And then I can show you with this. So I had these 2 petals that I sewed. So here's the circle open, and I laid my template down and just drew a line. I took it to the iron and I pressed on those lines, those folds, and then I folded this back and made it meet down here at the
Oh my gosh. It's just a circle, but it looks so complicated.
Right.
Oh, you got to show that. Show that one more time, because that is so cool. Everyone, you can go back and rewind, don't worry, but that is amazing. It's a circle.
Here's a circle. I put my template on and used a chalk marker, and I drew lines to where to sew or where to press. I took it to the iron and I pressed on those first 2 lines, and so these pieces were folded like this. Then I opened these up and pressed back the opposite way, just making sure that they met down here in the center, and press those. So now when I get the next circle sewn in here, I'll sew on this line, and then I'll go back and I'll be able to stitch on this line right here.
Oh my goodness. That's awesome.
2 stitching lines. But with those peekaboo stitches coming out, like on my pillow, do you see all the peekaboo stitches?
Yeah.
And look at this one right here. Even the Disney line stitches.
That's really cool.
I stitched those with the circular sewing attachment. And then all I did to attach that to the base fabric was I just used a clear thread and a narrow zigzag and just zigzagged it to a base fabric.
So creative.
And there's the button in the center. So make yourself a covered button. Mine was a 2 1/4 inch button. So I did the circle in my design center with the candle wicking stitch. And I think I made it 2 inches because I wanted to give myself a little wiggle room for it to go around the outside. And this little bee is built into the luminaire. So that was the perfect accent to my flower pillow.
So Angel has a quick question for you. And
Yes.
while you have that pillow up, she wants to know how did you join each one? And I think you explained that there were stitches, but when it's that close, maybe she can see it a little better.
Yeah, so what I did was each circle I stitched. Let's move the pillow and go back to this one because I think it would be easier to see. So each group of circles I stitched together on this first line that I drew from my template. I pressed those in so that I would have a reference to stitch on. And then I pressed open the remainder of the circle so that it would form the center petals.
That's awesome.
I think it's pretty cool.
I think it's very cool. Everybody watching this is saying it's very cool too. So very cool.
To turn your circles, I just made, these were 8-inch circles, and I just made a 8-inch circle in my design center and used the single run stitch, and I just layered 2 pieces of fabric together. I didn't even put any stabilizer or anything inside of any of this. Just stitching 2 perfect circles together. Then I cut a slit in it because once this is down on a base piece of fabric, you're never going to see these raw edges. So that's how you turn your circles right side out.
That's very cool. Oh my gosh, the questions are rolling in.
So my next project is I want to try this with denim and then stitch in just a little bit and have, I'm just going to use a single layer of denim, but I'm going to do some stay stitching around the circle so that I can get that frayed fuzzy look.
Oh, that would be cool. So just one layer?
Just one layer of denim.
Oh, yeah.
I think that would be cool.
That's beautiful.
Thanks.
I'm just, while you have that up, let me see if there's any questions here for that. Besides, Jenny says her mind is blown away. Pamela wants to know, what are the size of the 2 circles? I think you already said that, but in case you want to add that in there.
This one and the flower pillow, I used 8-inch circles, but it really doesn't matter what size circles you use. You could use, I think this was a 10-inch one that I drew. And it's just a matter of folding it and then getting that angle that you need to draw. And this is a 6-inch circle. So same thing. Just fold it in 8s.
So Sandy, just go back and watch the replay of this, how she folded that. So you can make your own template is what she's saying. So go back when we're finished here, you can go back and you can even fast forward to that section too. And she shows you exactly how she folded that to make that template. That's one you got to watch like twice.
And Kathy, you said you used paper for the template, right?
I did. This is just cardstock.
Yeah.
And I used my scan and cut to cut the circles.
Hey, that's even better. It's a perfect circle.
Perfect circle. And it uses up all this scrapbook paper that I have laying around.
Right.
Oh, Ibby wants to know, do you have any unattached buttons? She wants to see the button up close.
I don't have any unattached buttons. I was into button making a while back, and so this is just one of those pin back buttons.
Let me bring you up. Oh, that's cool.
And so it's just a pen back. I mean,
Oh,
perfect.
perfect.
I could put a button of B on my flowered shirt.
Okay, that's cool. That's a great idea.
So that's the B.
That'll be a whole next class. Making pins. Actually, that would be really popular. Jen, you can use that attachment on many Brother machines, not just the Luminaire. In fact, she was using the NS80, and I saw, I think it was Susie said she went to the Brother website, and the NS80 is discontinued. There's an NS80E and an NS8090. Is the NS90, did that take over the NS80?
This is the NS80E, I'm sorry.
NS80E, okay.
Correct.
I can't think of.
But you can use that circular attachment, like you said, on most Brother machines, even the Luminaire, but you use it on all the way down the line. I mean, like you said, maybe not all, maybe not some of the big box stores, but maybe see if you have that little hole on your plate to screw the screw into. That's what you need. It does the rest of the work.
Yeah, let me see if I can get. I'm going to switch my camera.
I was like, what is that noise? I think somebody's bee ate the camera. Here's
so if you have this little screw hole on your throat plate, in this position, you should be able to use this attachment.
Yep. It's a little tiny hole. You hardly know what it's for.
Yeah, and what she's showing there is the attachment on there.
Right. There's a hole that a little piece goes down into right here. So it helps stabilize it, but this one screw is what holds it on.
Okay, so I'm going to take my camera, Angela, and show you the hole on the Luminaire.
Okay.
Right there.
That little hole right there.
Yeah. So if you have a hole like that on your machine, it'll work. Because it does all the work.
That's so good to know too, because I know a lot of people watching, many are new sewers, new embroiders that, you're not going to go out and buy the Luminaire as your first machine, at least not normally, on a normal day-to-day basis. So it's great when we can show things that work on almost all the Brother machines, because there are a huge level of, pricing changes there. So for all of you that have the lower end machines, I wouldn't say lower end, just less expensive machines, you are in luck. I remember using this on my Quattro years ago. So, I mean, this is wonderful. Everybody said they're going to go check. Oh, and you're welcome, Ivy. Arnell loves your B button.
Somebody asked if you could use the scan and cut to cut out the circles for your fabric. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
So somebody asked, how do you embroider the folded over parts of the flower? The parts of the decorative stitching on the flower was done before it was folded over.
That was the circle. She embroidered circles and then turned it into the flower with the circle.
Right.
Hey, Michelle Michelle has a question. You can come back to us, Kathy, if you want.
Okay.
10.5 inch square, the 10.5 inch hoop, it's actually 10 5/8 by 10 5/8. And it comes with the Luminaire, with the Luminaire 2 in the box. If you have a Luminaire 1, it did not come with it. It is an accessory, but it's an awesome size.
Michelle has the Stellaire. So she
Stellaire?
Yeah.
No, the Stellaire can only do 8 or 12. What can it do? 8 inches, 8 by 12, I think.
8.
So yeah, it's too big for the Stellaire, but you could do the circular attachment, and you can also do a lot of the things I did in the design center on the Luminaire in the Stellaire in your design center.
Yeah.
Just take the circles as big as your hoop will allow.
Yeah. Right.
That's exactly it. So Debbie, even the baby lock, well, it depends, because just go look for those holes on the machine. I know some of the attachments for Brother will work on the baby lock. I don't know which ones necessarily, because these are for Brother, but look for the hole.
It is on most machines.
Yeah. You're
So we're
welcome.
glad everybody enjoyed the flower and circular sewing today. It's been fun.
Oh, this is wonderful. What did you just sneak up, Barb? What's in your hand?
Well, Kathy said something about I was going to do the ruffler, but we realized we wouldn't have enough time today. So I'll give you a sneak peek of what's coming next time. So I'm
wonderful.
going to show you how to use a ruffler that can be used on, again, a number of different machines. And I'm going to show you how to make a ruffle and sew it onto what you're trying to put it on all in one step. And it's just a ruffler attachment, or how to just put some ruffles on some cute little things. It's a little baby piece, or to make a ruffle for the back of a little girl's dress or the bottom of the dress. Again,
Oh, that's cute.
so simple. So yeah, this is a little ruffle down the back here. So we're going to be working with a ruffler, and it's not hard at all. It's fun to use, and you can like imagine things you can put it on. You can put a ruffle around a placemat. You can put it on obviously a pillow sham, or a bib, or a blanket, or a skirt bottom, or a bed skirt. So you've got one of those preteen girls, granddaughters who love everything frilly and fluffy. This will zip it up in no time for you, and it looks fabulous.
I'm looking so forward to that. And that will be, I believe we were just talking, the first Thursday in May, which will be very exciting. So guess what? Hopefully it's like 80 degrees here in Michigan. I'm going to be wanting to put ruffles on my shorts and my short sleeve tops. It's going to be perfect timing. So I'm just making sure. Angel has one more question. Is the hole by the bobbin, is it the hole by the bobbin? Yes, it's the hole by the bobbin for what you were looking for. Yes, yes.
Yep. And so Barb's going to show the ruffling foot. I'm going to show the gathering foot. I don't know if you can see how this is ruched in here.
Oh, yeah.
So I used to do a lot of heirloom sewing. So this is what we refer to as a puffing strip. So
Dolly, what foot for embroidery? You would use the embroidery foot. If you have an embroidery machine, there should be an embroidery foot that comes with your machine. You don't need something special for embroidery. It would come with your machine.
Right.
And you can go back, by the way, if any of you are new to embroidery, you can go back to Brother's YouTube page and click on, right when you go to their page, click on videos. I think it's the second link over. And you can binge watch for a long time. And there's a combination of embroidery, all the different machines, so much you can learn on that. So everyone, thank you so much. Barb and Kathy, this has been absolutely fantastic. The best part of these shows is I leave here and I go, okay, I do a few sketches. So that gives me a challenge. Before I see you in May, I'm going to have a shirt similar to this. Connie wanted to see the whole thing. Okay, so here it is. So I think I did have color blocking back there. It's all color blocked. I'm going to have to find a creative way. I think my challenge is going to be circles for my next outfit. And I will mark on my calendar, must be finished before I see you in May.
Okay.
Good. Looking forward to it.
All right. Well, everyone, Brother Sewing and Crafting family, thank you so much for joining us today. This is fabulous. Saturday, we have a replay of It's So Easy TV. And then next week, see you at noon. I believe it's Cindy Hogan. And we were just going to talk this afternoon about what we're doing. So I can't even give you a preview. I know it's something embroidery and fabulous. So Barb and Kathy, thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Good to see everybody.
Good seeing everybody. Thank you.